Hi, it's Wayne from howtofish.com.au and I'm fishing the Barwon River here at Barwon Heads. Beautiful morning got here, slight breeze, rising tide, great conditions. Wish it wasn't quite as sunny, but you know, you can't have everything. Just got here and we've had a lot of rain lately, so there might be a bit of weed in this water, but the way I'm set up now shouldn't be too much of a problem for me. So I'm just going to have some casts out. First thing I want to do is I'll get probably 6 or 7 casts out to get my burley into the area. So I'm fishing with burley cages as my weight and fairly small hooks, and I'm trying a range of baits today. So the thing is, what is going to win today? I've got chicken, I've got worms, I've got 2 different types of prawns, I've got squid. Let's see what works. So it's pretty evident. I've been getting a few bites, but it's evident it's going to be a bit of a tough one today. You know, the things that you got to do when it's getting really, really tough. So if there's not a lot of fish around, you've got to use the lighter gear. That tends to make them a bit more confident in picking up your bait. So when I say lighter gear, I mean finer lines, smaller hooks. The other thing you've got to do is just get enough burley. You've got to get attractants into the area. So if there's not many fish around, or if they're not particularly hungry, you've got to get something to stimulate them to feed. So burley does that very well, and I'm using burley in my burley cages to do that. So, you know, maybe the combination of baits and the right stimulant to the water, that might get a couple of fish. Well, there's some very, very subtle bites, and I've just found out what they are. There's a little Tommy Rough or Australian herring. So I'm glad to catch something today, and it's taken quite a bit of burley to get them here. Now I've just got to improve on size on these ones. And that first fish was caught on the smaller gear that I've got, size 14 hook and spicy chicken bait. Well, if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I'll use a running line with a burley cage, and I've got burley cages on each rod, and then often I'll put on my survival pack, which is tying on a pre-stretched finer trace and a small hook, and that works really, really well to get those bites. The only trouble is today that I got broken off, because occasionally you'll attract those bigger fish and they'll just pull off this line. This is 2.2 kilo line, so you know there's reasonable strength there to catch fish, a good sized fish, but every now and again something just too big will come through. So I'm going to have to take that trace off and just tie a hook straight onto my main line, which is 3 kilos. And if I stop getting bites, or if things slow down, I'll probably go back to the pre-stretched, because it means maybe there was only just one big fish around. Now, I don't know if you can notice this, but there's a stream of the wind blowing in the river there. So it's blowing. The current is causing a strip of water. You can see it's got a bit of suds on it, a bit of white water on it. Now, what will happen is that particular piece of water will carry more bait than the others. All I'm doing is I'm casting right onto the top of that. So if natural foods and that are sort of falling from that, then what I'll do is cast over the top of it, hoping that the fish will be looking for food along a lane like that. Well, this is a better fish. So, little trevally on the spicy chicken again. So getting the burley in, certainly bring the fish about now. So once again, I'm casting into that stream down that wind lane down there in the water, casting right over the top of that, and that seems to be what the fish are following. Bullseye. Another trevally. They're getting them around, but they're only small ones. But look, they give a pretty good fight for their size, especially on light line. And there's also a few mullet about. So I'll keep going with this. Spicy chicken again. Now, very, very subtle bites on this rod over here. The trouble has been that the wind has been really moving the rod tips around, which means it's been hard to determine whether it's the wind or bites that I'm getting. And so sometimes I've reeled back in and I've got no bait. And so normally what I would do is I usually bring 2 rod holders per rod. And so when the wind is like this and it's a bit heavy at times, what I'll do is I'll put both rod holders in so that instead of having my rod high like this, I keep it lower. I keep more line in the water because the water's not as turbulent and it doesn't affect the tip as much. If there's a lot of flow on the water, then I'll try and keep as much line out of there. But when you've got a lot of flow and a lot of wind, it gets really, really difficult. But today it would have been better if I had my 2 rod holders per rod. I don't have them, unfortunately, so I have to contend with missed bites just simply because I can't tell. So sometimes what I'm going to have to do is just hold the rod for reasonable periods of time just to feel what's happening, because I've lost a lot of bait, and I've missed fish because I haven't struck into them quickly enough, and a couple of good fish as well. Okay, another small fish. Another small mullet, which is what I think is taking a lot of the bait today. Okay, well that's a better mullet this time around. So, but the trouble is the bites are so subtle. Okay, a small mullet, and having a bit of fun with these, but oh god, I'm dropping a few too. I'm into a good fish now, probably a mullet. Wasn't as good as I thought, but at least it's something. Okay, so get this one out. Yeah, I had a really nice prawn bait on this larger hook, and this is what I caught with it. Oh. I'm going to try and improve on that. Now there's just a break in the wind now, and so easy to feel the bites and everything, which is really good. It's very nice. I'm like just a very short window of time. I'm getting bites right now. They are taking my bait though. And then every now and again you get something of this size, which is not bad. Okay, this guy goes back. If I can grab onto him. Well, I got something as well. Another small brim probably. I mean, mullet. Yep, another small mullet. Well, the wind's picked up and there's quite a bit of wave action on the water. I'm missing bites, but largely because if you've enjoyed the video, please give